Hey everybody, this is Craig 9 Volt Games, and today I want to talk about Loaded. Loaded was one of my favorite games on PlayStation 1, and Reloaded I liked too, but not as much. But Loaded is the one that we're going to talk about today. It was a top-down shooter. It was amazing. It reminded me of Gauntlet, except it was super fucking violent, or Smash TV, but I guess you could say it was kind of like a brought-up version of Smash TV. I guess that's more what the comparison would be. However, the funny thing about me mentioning Gauntlet is something I did a little research on this today. Did you know that this fucking game had a way cooler name in Japan? It was called Blood Factory. Why didn't they think that was look? I'm so excited that I hit puberty again. That's how manly this game is. Why didn't they think that Blood Factory would have been a great name for it in America? That shit would have flew off shelves better than it already did. But Loaded actually was very successful to the point that they had a sequel come out, like, immediately. Immediately. Now, I said I played this game on PlayStation. Obviously, that's not all it came out on. It came out on Sega Saturn, but it came out way late. And I guess the reasoning was originally it looked like shit. I was waiting for the title. It looked like shit, and then it took time, and then eventually it looked good. That's, I guess, the reasoning. I'm not sure. The thing that made me most upset about it is that this is one of the games that I want remade badly with some online multiplayer support. This was a fun game to play with two players. My cousin Jay and myself used to play this like every weekend when I got it. And the best part is, this game came out in '95. This was one of the first games I had on PlayStation. And, I can still play it today. It came out in '95. It's 2021. And the reason I'm even doing this video is because I played this recently. And I do believe that I streamed Loaded within the last 4 months when I was running through making a Raspberry Pi. The game's difficult, frustrating, but fun. And when you're playing with another person, then it becomes substantially easier. But the game originally was from Gremlin Interactive, and it was published by Interplay. Now, Interplay, you probably know that name because they're responsible for the fucking Fallout series. They are the creators of the Fallout series. And Fallout didn't play like this, but used to look like this, which is another thing. So I guess the isometric view kind of makes me think of Fallout, and the fact that it has Interplay on it makes me really think of Fallout, but it's a full-on action game. I think if they remade Loaded today, or they made a third one, it would be an awesome twin-stick shooter to have on the PlayStation Network or Xbox Live Arcade. I don't even know what the fuck they call it. The Xbox Store, the Microsoft Store, or the eShop even. But yeah, my fly's down. I didn't need to tell you, but if I back up, it would have been bad. I got lost. So I was talking about remakes, right? And I wanted to do a remake for this, but I like the way that I did it here better. The game's from Gremlin Interactive. Gremlin bought, was that DMA? The people who originally were the creators of, who was the original Rockstar? So the original creators of GTA, DMA Designs. And then they all got bought by Infogrames, right? And then Infogrames got bought by Atari. So I followed this fucking path, and I don't know who owns this game. I think Atari owns it, but it wasn't listed on Atari's holdings. I went that far to look to see what Atari actually owns. You'd be fucking surprised what Atari owns and does nothing with, by the way. They own some amazing shit that they do absolutely nothing with. But anyways, I didn't see Loaded on there. I didn't see Reloaded on there. I didn't see Blood Factory on there. The company, I can't remember off the top of my head, that most of the people who made this game went on to, they created a new studio. They don't own it either. But I just remember Gremlin games for 3 games. Body Harvest, Loaded, Reloaded, that counts as one, and Nitrous Oxide, which is a game I said I also loved back in the day. But yeah, so let's play a little bit of this. It had a great soundtrack. I'm not going to blast it. And I'm not going to play this very long, because like I said, I streamed it recently. My favorite character, even though the picture's going to be me dressed up as Fwank, the clown, right? My favorite character to use if I was playing by myself was Cap in Hands. Because he's fast, very fast, and he's a dual wielder. And if I was playing with my cousin Jay, I would always use Bouncer. He's good, but he's not fun to use by yourself. You'll die very easily. So We'll just do a little bit with cap in hands. I played this so fucking much. See, where Reloaded went, they kind of rushed it. It was built on the same engine. There was a little bit of an improvement in the graphics, but it pretty much had the same characters with a tiny redesign. But these effects back in 95, going into a dark area and watching the reflection of the bullets bouncing off and the light hitting the walls, like I said, especially in really dark areas, was amazing. Amazing to see back in the day. Alright, so how about I find a fucking door that's open? There's the yellow key card. Alright, ready? And then once you open these doors, you just start getting rushed by enemies. Hey. And then it's basically get the cards, go through the doors, kill everything that you can kill. Try not to die, which I'm sure I'll do pretty quickly. You get your standard weapons, you get giant explosions like that, which is a waste, but since I'm not going to be playing it, I love the effects of the people's bodies just splattering on the floor. Everything just exploding, a wooden table exploding for absolutely no reason. They were definitely trying to do a real hard flex with this game, with what they could do with the PlayStation very, very early on. So like I said, this game came out in 95, so I'm in. Whoop. Just use all the blood explosions, the blood bombs. And since this is an old game, they didn't have DLC, right? So I got the green card. So basically what you get is what you get. There are walls that you can shoot, and they open up to secret areas and such. But this is a game that, like I said, that's all I'm going to do. This is a game that, like I said today, you can run through with another person. It's fun. It would really benefit from a bit of polish and putting it up and having online multiplayer. And if they wanted to make a sequel, they could fucking make it a 2-player online multiplayer. They could make it a 4-player online multiplayer. As you see, the first game's got 6 people. You could do a 4-player multiplayer. I don't know. Add a little depth to it, but don't destroy it. Sometimes, like, I'm currently playing Torchlight right now, right? So those ARG, whatever the fuck they're called, the big RPGs, they're fun, but you got to invest a lot of time into it. Sometimes I like to play games like this where it is mindless shooting and it's teaming up with somebody and it's running and accomplishing a mission, and you don't have to put a lot of thought into it. It's just plain fun. We need more games like that, and we don't have it. I'm not saying put a game like this out and charge $60 because that would be fucking ludicrous. Who would want to do that? But putting a game like this out and charging $20, even $30, I'd buy it. I think a lot of other people my age would buy it too. But like I did Croc yesterday, and in my eyes, that game is a classic. This game's an actual classic. You'd be hard pressed to find someone who played Loaded and didn't like it. Not so much with the sequel. You might find people who played Reloaded and didn't like it, or wasn't that fond of it. But I don't know anybody that actually played Loaded and was like, yeah, I didn't like that game. It was a classic to anybody who played it. And a lot of people did play it because it became a greatest hits. Reloaded became a greatest hits, which means they sold a substantial amount to get that title on any system. So, yeah. Oh, what was I? Another little tidbit. The people who made this game, 99% of their other games were fucking soccer games or football, because they're British companies, so they made like football managers and stuff, and racing games, and they had a few gems throughout their career. And I looked back at a game that they made, and they made one of the very first, not only very first expansion packs ever, but they made it for Gauntlet, which I thought was fucking awesome, because way back in when did that come out? 1987, something like that. Between 85 and 87, they made something for funsies, and they fucking ended up making a really cool franchise that I wish they could have continued. I understand why they couldn't. They rushed out the sequel. They lost interest. You know, back in those days of games, if something was hot, you got a sequel like immediately. We know nowadays that shit doesn't really work unless you're a sports franchise or a fucking Call of Duty. like rushing out sequels, eventually people will be like, no, I'm not giving you my money. And they learned that lesson going into the PlayStation era, that you can't do that. You can't just reskin something. Like, a lot of people won't be fleeced that way. So it's really sad. And then they went to another company, and then that company filed Chapter 11, and then they got absorbed by fucking Atari. And now I don't know who owns Loaded. If anybody knows who owns this, I will contact somebody. It might not work, but I've tried it for other things before, and most times when I say I want something remade, it's not because of me, but it gets remade. I would love to see another Loaded. How about you guys? Thank you guys for watching. I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. More of these to come.